If you want to restore your marriage, you want to save the marriage, or if you've already got a divorce and you want to reattract your wife back, you need to understand the psychology of stop trying to win her back, but do this instead. Let's get started. It's going to be a great video. You just got to be coachable. Guys, the admission for today's video is two things. Press that like button. Tell the algorithm on YouTube that you stand for marriage and that you want to help other men accomplish their goals of saving their marriage. Make sure after you press subscribe to hit the little bell button and you change the settings to all. I'm posting a lot of new videos right now that can help you save your marriage, and YouTube is suppressing these videos. Make sure and change those settings so that you don't miss one single thing. You could be one video away from turning everything around. If you don't already know who I am, my name is Griffin, and I help men who are facing unwanted divorce or separation forever reattract their wife back and restore their marriage even when their wife is not willing to work on it. And if you've already got a divorce, I help hundreds of men over the years remarry their ex-wives. Let me tell you how. So you're asking the million-dollar question, Denver, what is the psychology? If I stop trying to work on my marriage, if I give up on the marriage, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't feel like that's going to work. That feels like the opposite. That's why I teach men how to align your actions with the goals of restoring the marriage and stop acting and aligning your actions with your feelings. So why does this work when you stop? Because you need to do something differently. You have to understand the psychology of it. Here's the thing, guys. A lot of you watching this video right now, you're in some other program. Some of you are watching other people that have programs. And guess what? It's making you feel good about yourself. It's making you feel like your biceps are bigger, your manhood got 2 inches longer. You're not in depression anymore. Some of you are suicidal because the love of your life is gone and you don't know what to do to get her back. Guess what? You now have a reason to have hope again, because I'm going to teach you how to get out of that. But I want to share something with you that is a fact, and maybe I'm the first person to tell you this. You will never restore your marriage until your wife changes. Listen, you changing you is going to be something that's a requirement to restore the marriage, but that's not enough. That's why a lot of you that are in these other programs where you're doing no contact, or you signed up on the program with the old fat dude and his daughter, he never was in an unwanted divorce. He left his wife. And then she finally took him back when his girlfriend left him, and now he's recruited his daughter because it's a multi-million-dollar business. There's a lot of money in this. I built massive wealth off of this. The Bible says, wise is the man that brings the grain into the storehouse. Blessed is he who sells it. I've had to endure a lot of pain to bring the grain that's in my storehouse, and now I sell it. On YouTube, I give it away for free. It's how I serve people that maybe are less fortunate and they can't afford it. Maybe they have no assets in their marriage and they've never accumulated it and they don't have a good job. If that's you, I can tell you the first thing that you can do to restore your marriage is get off your rear end and go get a good job. Start a business. Start making profit. You are required to do that. The Bible says that a good man will leave an inheritance to his children's children. If you're not being obedient to even leave an inheritance to your wife and your current children, then that's what your problem is. You don't need me. You need that scripture. Go fulfill that. But if you're not that man and you have rental property and assets and 401ks and homes, and there's so much financial loss, and a lot of you are saying, well, I don't care about any of that. I just want my wife back. If that's you, put that in the comments. But let me also share something with you. If that's you, put that in the comments. Did you hear what I said? Put that in the comments if that's you. If you care more about your wife than you do this stuff, stick that in the comments. Guess what, though? If your wife wants a divorce, she cares more about the stuff than she does you. And the reason that it's very important to understand that is because every dollar that a wife walks away with in a marriage, those are all enemies of the marriage if it enables her to have an easy divorce rather than it is in her eyes to have a hard marriage with you. So here's what I mean when I say you changing you is not going to be enough to save the marriage. If anything, those programs that help you get your aha back, get your stamina back, get your muscles back, get your manhood back, she's going to resent you for it. Put in the comments right now, if you've made all these changes, you literally have become the man that you think that she wanted, but it's made it worse. She resents your changes. Put that in the comments if that's you, and I'll do a video on that if I get enough comments to support that. But here's what I mean when I say that you changing you is not going to be enough, because listen, if your wife is the one that wants out of the marriage, if she wants the divorce, it will never be changed until your wife changes. If you've already got a divorce, your relationship status will not change from divorcee to happily married with that woman again and remarry her, as one of my recent students named Jason from Georgia just remarried his ex-wife after they got a divorce because I showed him how to rebuild intimacy and align his actions with his goals after he stopped doing what's normal and aligning his actions with his feelings. And once he started aligning his actions with his goals, his wife started changing too. See, when I met Jason, he is like most of my students. He was already in another program, and that program helped him change, but it did nothing to change his wife. And working with me, we immediately started changing his wife. Well, how did we do that? The first thing that we did was I taught him, align your actions with your goals. Jason, you've done all this work on yourself, but you're still trying to get your wife to go to marriage counseling. You're still trying to get your wife to work on the marriage. Let's do something different for a change and see what happens. Stop working on the marriage. Because working on the marriage is what will never work. How many of you went to counseling when you guys were still together? How many of you are currently in counseling? Now, raise your hand and then put in the comments, how many of you would say that counseling made your marriage significantly worse? Put that in the comments right now. Put in the comments, what did counseling do in your marriage if that's you? And this is confirming the fact that statistically speaking, working on the marriage is exactly what will make the marriage not work. And if you're trying to get your wife to work on the marriage, all you're going to do is confirm the bias that she has against you if she has confirmation bias. Now, for the majority of you watching my video right now, your wife probably doesn't have confirmation bias, and you can restore your marriage just from watching YouTube videos. For some of you, maybe 20, 25% of you, sometimes 30, depending on the season, your wife does have confirmation bias. If that's the case, you will end up in a divorce and your wife will end up remarried most likely if you think that you have enough time watching the YouTube videos. If that's you, you don't have time to do that. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you something that you can do. We have a free marriage U-turn masterclass that can help you make some wins with that. So what is something that you can do also? Okay, so first of all, stop working on the marriage. If that's you and you've been doing that, you've already put that in the comments, what you're doing. We know that doesn't work. And we also know that if you keep doing what doesn't work, what kind of result are you going to get if you keep doing that? You're going to get the same result. You're going to get more of what doesn't work. If she has confirmation bias, you're going to have a wife that's married to another man or ends up pregnant with another man's baby. So if you don't want that, stop working on the marriage. The second thing that you can do is this. Do you see this big freaking grin on my face? Okay. One of the reasons that men end up facing divorce is because they sense that there's something going on with their wife. Maybe she's menopausal, postmenopausal, perimenopausal. Maybe she's having a midlife crisis. Maybe she's having a hormone imbalance. Maybe she has some childhood trauma. It's resurfacing because of other things. Maybe there's been some triggers that have triggered that. Maybe she's an avoidant personality. There's a million things that could be going on in your wife, and a lot of those may have nothing to do with you. Now, you may have triggered those things, okay, but they may have nothing to do with you, and that's something she's dealing with or struggling with personally. Now, you being the good husband that you are, you feel like you have a responsibility when you see your wife hurting or she's in pain or she's unhappy. That naturally makes a good man unhappy, right? Right, it does. It makes any of us unhappy. But that's out of ignorance, right? Because what happens is if your wife is unhappy and then all of a sudden she sees that you're unhappy about her unhappiness, what you're doing now is you're telling her subconscious, see, you're changing your wife. You're changing your wife. How are you doing that? You're training her subconscious to believe a lie. And it eventually can become true. Well, Denver, what's the lie? I didn't know I've been lying to my wife's subconscious. I've never heard anything about all this psychological stuff. Well, we can restore a marriage with psychology because communication is what we use to restore a marriage. And that's all about psychology. The very word intimacy itself means from a Latin derivative, into me see. Well, what makes somebody feel seen? Where do they process feeling seen? Up here. And what's up here called? Psychology. So this is how we restore a marriage. And so what you've done, if this is you, because it was me, is you've trained your wife's subconscious, you've changed your wife's mind after marriage to believe that she's responsible for your happiness now. You've went to her and expressed, honey, I'm so unhappy to see that you're unhappy. And if you've done that, put that in the comments if you've done that. But here's what you've also done. As you're putting that in the comments, listen to me. If you've done that, you have now trained your wife's subconscious to have confirmation bias against you in the relationship and against the relationship itself, that she believes that she can't be happy within the relationship because you are putting too much pressure on her to keep you happy. And oftentimes what happens is a woman will actually start having an emotional, a physical, or a sexual affair with another man, or she will recruit an enemy of the marriage and build intimacy with another female, not necessarily sexually, even though that does certainly happen sometimes, because what happens is the affair partner or the other female that we call the enemy of the marriage, sometimes the enemy of the marriage is a family member like a mother-in-law or an old friend or maybe an unhappy, miserable woman that is latched onto your wife because misery loves company, and now she's encouraging your wife to go get her life and to find her happy. But what she's doing really is she's encouraging her life to your wife not only to ruin her life, but to ruin the kid's life and to ruin your life with it. This is why I said, if you want to save the marriage, you've got to change the wife. One of the ways that you can do that radically quickly is right now, what is very normal when a woman walks out the door. Now, if you're still doing an in-house separation, emotionally, your wife has walked out the door. For some of you, you're doing a physical separation and you're in an active divorce case, but that's also a physical way. But either way, whether she physically has walked or emotionally, if she has physically, she has also emotionally walked. One of the things that you can do is recognize that you are the pressure cooker that has been putting pressure on her, and she has found an outlet to let off that steam. See, I'm from the South, so I use this analogy a lot. In the South, country folks, they can corn and peas and stuff like that, and they go out in the garden and they get their vegetables and they put them in a mason jar and they put them in a pressure cooker, and it's got a lid on it, and they put a lot of pressure, and that's what preserves it and seals it in the can, okay? And then what happens is when those are ready to be taken out of it, when they're done, so to speak, the pressure relief valve will steam to let the person know. So what's happened is you've become the pressure cooker. See, you've changed your wife. You have put her in the pressure cooker. You put the lid on. You didn't even know you did this. And you're cooking her. You're putting the pressure on, and she can't take it. So what is she going to have to do to live? She has to find her pressure relief valve. And the pressure relief valve is where she lets off steam. That's an emotional affair partner, a physical affair partner, a sexual affair partner. It's an enemy of the marriage. It's a mother-in-law. It's a hooker friend that she's hooked back up with that's been through 3 divorces. Any of those things is the pressure relief valve. How do you get your wife feeling comfortable to allow you to be the pressure relief valve? Well, what I just told you was how I teach students on this YouTube channel to change. If you want the marriage restored, you've got to change and be their pressure relief valve. And when you do that, it changes her. And for the first time, maybe in your entire life, you are the emotional safe guy that she feels comfortable coming to you to let the steam off. Do you understand what I mean? So a lot of you right now, you think your marriage can't be saved because your wife has a boyfriend. She has a limerent affair partner. She has a sexual affair partner. Your friends and your family, they're telling you, let her go. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Guys, listen, all of that is BS. That is not true. Did you know 70% of my students in a program that I run called DivorceStoppers, they find out that their wife is having an affair? It's either emotional or physical or sexual, but 7 out of 10 of my students find it out in the 7 weeks as they're going through the different steps. That's that they find out. Do you think any of my students, their wife is having an affair, emotional, sexual, or physical, and they don't find it out? Yeah, absolutely. It's probably closer to 9 out of 10 is having an affair. And if you count emotional affairs, I would say it's 10 out of 10 wives are having an emotional affair when you're facing an unwanted divorce or a separation. And so what I'm teaching you to do is I'm teaching you how to be the affair partner. I'm teaching you how to change her See, when she starts feeling safe to come let off steam with you, that means your new leadership has changed her. So the second way that you can do that is ruin her story. She believes that you're unhappy. She believes that she's responsible for your happiness. She believes that you're the one putting the pressure on because that's true. Make that untrue. How do you do that? Put a freaking smile on your face. Tell yourself, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. Stop walking in the 3 C's with your wife: condemning, complaining, or criticizing. Pivot. Stop doing the 3 C's. No more. From this video, you will never, ever, ever again. You'll never condemn, you'll never complain, and you'll never criticize your wife. Ever again. Stop doing that right now. Stop making her feel guilty about wanting a divorce. Stop making her feel guilty about this is devastating to kids, they need counseling. Can't you see what you're doing to our kids? Guess what? To protect her own sanity, she literally cannot see it. You can see it. Everybody else around you can see it. She'll never see it until you change her, until you become the pressure relief valve. And that will never happen as long as you're unhappy. So if you want to, well, different, how can I freaking be happy if my wife is ruining my life? Guess what? Stop aligning your actions with your feelings. Start aligning your actions with your goals. I can tell you this, if you don't get happy first, you are going to lose her forever. So what do? How do you get happy? Tell yourself, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. I am happy, I am happy. Right now, I have, Ty, how many grandkids? I have 7? I'm losing count. I have 7 grandkids. And when I'm driving, sometimes the older, especially the boys, I have 6 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. Sometimes in the back of my wife's Escalade, they'll be playing a little game in the back, and I'll look back and they're in a fight. And I'm like, okay. I look back at them and I'm like, what do they know exactly? They're like, okay. And they say, I am happy, and they have to hold a smile while they do it. Why? Because whenever I was facing divorce, when my wife and I were separated, on the days I wasn't feeling happy, I was smart enough to know psychologically, I can change how I'm feeling. How do I do that? I tell myself, I'm happy, I am happy, I am happy. That helps me pivot from the 3 C's, complaining, condemning, and criticizing, into the 3 P's, positive, polite, and playful. Positive, polite, and playful. Stop condemning, complaining, or criticizing to your wife about her actions, or anything else. Pivot into being positive about what she's doing. Sure, you need a divorce. I understand that. Stop complaining about her actions. Make her feel good about you, communicating with you, and about herself. And the way that you do that is you're always within communication with her, positive, polite, and playful. Something else that you need to be doing is show her that you're happy by getting off your rear end, get off the couch, stop eating Cheetos, and go live your life. Right now, she thinks that, oh my God, if I go back to him, he's going to put pressure on me to make me happy because he doesn't even get off the couch and go live his life. He's living his life through me, and I can't take that pressure. Make that truth untrue. Right now, after this video, you could get up off the couch, go to the bowling alley by yourself, and post that on Facebook. How many of you right now, put in the comments if right now you go back to your Facebook and you look on your Facebook account and the posts are Bible verses or something about relationships. If they ever loved you, they would have done this. Or, the Bible talking about a Proverbs wife. Any Facebook post that you put on there with the intention thinking, she'll just read this, she'll change her mind. But after watching this video, you now realize those Facebook posts are complaining, they're criticizing, and they're condemning her actions. And they are changing her mind, all right? They are further confirming the bias as to why she could never be married to you again. Put in the comments if you've realized right now in this video that that's a mistake that you've been making, but also put in the comments if now that you've realized that, if you're going to go back and delete all that stuff and start posting positive things. The Bible says to focus on things that are lovely, that are beautiful. By focusing on things that are the opposite of that, you're going to get more of that. You're attracting it to yourself. What you're doing yourself is aligning your actions with your feelings and not your goals. And what that's doing from a religious perspective, it is very normal when a woman walks out the door for her to run from Jesus and for the man to run to Jesus. If that's you, put that in the comments. But I want to give you a word of wisdom around that. If you start putting Jesus all over social media and you make it look like you went from a controlling narcissist to Mother Teresa, St. Peter, what you're doing is what the Bible calls this, is you're becoming a stumbling block to your sister. You are unintentionally, out of ignorance, stacking up some Bibles, and you're using those as a stumbling block, and your wife is literally tripping over those into the leadership of ending the relationship forever. And I know that you don't think that you're doing that, but process what I'm telling you in the video, and trust me when I tell you, I've been doing this for over a decade and know what I'm talking about. If you're putting up posts like that, delete them. Because it's making her resent you, and it's going to assure that the marriage will never be restored as long as you're doing those things. So what is the third thing that you can do to restore the marriage? Well, I told you the most important thing that you can do right now, which was step number 2, is to start living your life. But you know what? That's not even enough. If she doesn't know that you're living your life, and if she doesn't know that you're keeping yourself happy, then it doesn't matter. She has to know that if she comes back into the relationship with you, she's not going to be responsible for your happiness. Well, how do you show her that? Well, the Bible says God wants to use what's intended for your harm for your good. I'm telling you how to do that, how to implement that into your life right now in a very practical way. Go to the bowling alley, go to the restaurant, go skydiving, go fly a kite, go canoeing, go kayaking. Watch that movie with Jim Carrey. And I'm not joking. I highly recommend this. Put in the comments if you've already watched that movie with Jim Carrey called Yes Man. Right now, if you want to save your marriage, if you want to reattract back your ex-wife or your ex-lover, if you want to rebuild this marriage from the ground up, you're going to have to not only get happy, but you're going to have to show her that you are happy. And the way you do that is you go live your life, you put a big freaking smile on your face, you get some Crest white strips to make sure the smile is pretty, but you document the journey on Facebook. I fully believe Facebook ruins marriages every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But in this capacity, I'm teaching you how to use what's intended for the harm of your marriage for the good of your marriage, and this is how you do it. Another way that we can use Facebook, which is step number 3, create curiosity. So you remember early in the video, I told you for a handful of you, your wife actually has confirmation bias. Well, Jennifer, what is confirmation bias? And how do I know if she has it? Well, let me ask you a simple question, and this will help you guess, like a really good guess, if she has confirmation bias. How many of you, put this in the comments right now, if you see that you've done all these things right, like you thought 100% your marriage was fully going to be restored. You might have even made love to her. And for like 3 or 4 weeks, you had some really good wins. But then all of a sudden you did one little thing and it literally made things like worse than it was before. That's because if your wife has confirmation bias that's been activated psychologically and she's run those neural pathways long enough where the neuroplasticity of her brain, the psychology of her brain has run those thought patterns so long that they have become biological that we can see them on an MRI. Put in the comments if you've thought you had your marriage restored, you were 3 or 4 weeks into it, everything was going right, but you had one little mess up and all of a sudden the divorce is back on like Donkey Kong. That can pretty much guarantee that your wife has confirmation bias. Put in the comments if you think that that's you. If that's you, you definitely need my free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass, and I'm going to give you the website and the QR code to do that here in just a little bit, but I want to give you some other things that you can do before you do that are also going to help you have some wins. So what is number 3 and how do I create curiosity? Well, here's what I mean by that. Watch the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey. If you've already done that, put that in the comments if you remember what that movie was. So anytime an opportunity in Jim Carrey's life in this movie called Yes Man presented itself, anytime opportunity presented itself, whether he wanted to do it or not, he just did it. He went camping, he went kayaking, he went on bicycle, he went on road trips, he started getting in the gym, he did a 5K. He did crazy stuff that were life experiences, and he happily did it. He told himself in the movie, I am happy to do this. I am happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. And he enjoyed it, and it became real. Because if you tell yourself something verbally out loud, and you hold your face and your body language in a position to mean it, as you're looking in the mirror, it really becomes real. This is what the Bible means when it says to get a vision, write it down, make it plain, and run to it. If you put a smile, your own smile, in your mirror and you're seeing yourself, you're literally seeing a vision of the future that you want. You truly want to be happy, right? You're going to achieve that if you put that smile on before it gets there, and it'll manifest it into your life. To he who has, more is given, what the Bible has. To he who has not, if you sit around focusing on that, what you do have left will also be taken away from you. The Bible says that a foolish woman tears her very own house down with her very own hands. Put in the comments if that's your wife. Now here's the good news. The Bible doesn't say a bad woman tears her house down with her very own hands. It means that the weaker vessel that is heartbroken right now, and she doesn't know what else to do to find herself within the marriage to you, will take foolish action steps to destroy her life, yours, and your children. And that's what it means. The Bible also gives you directions to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And if you'll start the process of doing that today by aligning your actions with your goals instead of your feelings, this will change your wife. You'll start understanding your anointing. You'll start aligning your actions with your calling. Why are you even on this earth sucking up oxygen on the planet? That makes a woman feel emotionally safe. A man that knows what he's doing, knows where he's going, and nothing is going to stop him from going there is an attractive trait to a woman. You need to become the 20-pound bottle of Valium that can't be phased. That is a real masculine man. That is a 1% of a 1% man. Denver, what does that mean? A 20-pound bottle of Valium that can't be phased. Here's what it means. When your wife comes to you acting psychotic, all emotional, feelings everywhere, she's condemning, complaining, and criticizing you. Let me paraphrase what I'm saying. When your wife comes to you throwing a bitch fit, acting like a female, you need to land the plane correctly in the masculine and don't also act like a female. Is it normal for a man to respond to that in the feminine? Yes, it is. But that's also why it's normal for a man to get a divorce when his wife is acting like that. If she wants a divorce, if you respond acting like her. You're not implementing opposite attracts if you're also throwing a bitch fit, if you're responding to her in the feminine. Put in the comments if you see that you've been doing that. Would you like to change your wife when she's acting in the masculine? It is very normal when a wife comes to you acting in the masculine, she's stoic, she's doing no contact, she's limiting communication with you, for you to overly communicate and start acting what my wife would call acting like a little bitch, that's you responding in the feminine. When you respond in the feminine, it makes her feel very fearful. That's the opposite of emotional safety for a woman, okay? So how do you create curiosity? Anything right now, honestly, that you could do different will create curiosity. My wife knew that I was somebody that would never get a tattoo. One of the things that my wife knew whenever we were together, before we were facing a divorce, after she filed a divorce and we were in a separation, was she knew that it was against my religious beliefs to get a tattoo. And so whenever we were separated, I knew that my wife had confirmation bias because I'm a student of the brain, of psychology, basically since I was 18 years old. I started college when I was 17, when I started majoring in psychology. So I already understood cognitive bias is what it was called when I went to school for psychology, but now it's kind of called confirmation bias. It's a general term used psychologically in the community. I understood that my wife did have confirmation bias, and I knew one of the ways that you can dissolve confirmation bias is just get them thinking something else. See, when somebody has confirmation bias and they keep running the neural pathways to the point it's become biological, if you allow them to keep running that, it won't dissolve. But if you can get them thinking something different, using a different region of their brain, every day that they're using this part of the brain when they're thinking about you, the synapses and the neural pathways over here, they're weakening. meaning that confirmation bias is dissolving. So I'm just going to give you one example that's kind of extreme, but a little crazy, but it worked. I started reading the Bible about what are my actual religious beliefs around tattoos. I was raised in a church that they said if you get a tattoo, you're going to go to hell. I started reading the Bible for myself, and it says, if you are a Levite priest in the tribe of the Levites as an Israelite from Israel, then you're not supposed to get a tattoo if you're a Levite priest. I'm not a Levite priest, so that opened up the doors from my religiosity and my religious beliefs for me to get a tattoo. When we were together, my wife knew that I believed if I got a tattoo, I was going to go to hell. Well, then I studied the Bible a little bit. I'm increasing my spice. How do I smell to my Creator? Spiritual, physical, intellectual, character, and emotional attractiveness. You can increase your spicy aroma to God, which will make you a better man. But when you do that, it's also increasing how you smell to your wife. What kind of masculine, safe aroma that you're giving off with your wife. And so the physical acronym of SPICE is physical attractiveness. My wife just so happened to like tattoos. She thought they were physically attractive, and on men, she thought they were masculine. So I thought, I think that might kind of be cool. Once I realized I wasn't going to go to hell for a tattoo, I went and got a tattoo. That created so much conversation with my wife while we were actually in separation, and she had an active divorce case filed against me, that I went and got another one. And guess what? It actually helped me restore my marriage. And today I'm actually landed with a couple of tattoos that for me, I like, because I got tattoos in line with my belief system, because this is a tattoo that's in line with my religious beliefs because of what it means. It says to love your family. And the Bible itself says the first commandment is to love God. The second commandment, most important commandment, according to Jesus, is to love other people. So that was in line with my beliefs. The other thing was, I think I'm grafted into God's family as an adopted child. And so I got a tribal tattoo to represent that. So this is what I mean. You don't necessarily have to get a tattoo. But what I am recommending, if you've wore glasses your whole life, go get contacts. If you've wore contacts your whole life, go get glasses. If you're a man and you've never even, like I was, I've never even put on lotion. I thought, oh my gosh, that's so like girly. If I put on lotion, I would never put that mess on my face. I was raised in Frog Level, Arkansas. Go figure. Now I put lotion on my face. Maybe you're in a northern state. Maybe you're in Canada. Maybe you're in Buffalo, New York, and you never have sunlight hit your face. Guess what? Get on Amazon and order this product, Banana Boat Self Tanner. Get the lotion, get the spray, apply it to your hand, rub a little bit of that on your face, wait 30 minutes, and you will literally become more masculine looking. Because have you ever heard the phrase tall, dark, and handsome? I'm teaching you how to do the dark part in 30 minutes. If you're already naturally dark, maybe there's some other things you could do. You get the point that I'm making though. Create curiosity by doing something different. And whenever your wife is looking at your Facebook post, or her friends and family are looking at your Facebook post, and they're like, what in the world is going on with that guy? Then that's creating curiosity. Curiosity is level 1 of attraction. Whenever a woman is thinking, what's going on with that guy? Has he lost his marbles? Now, don't do something that makes you ugly, okay? Don't go get some of those big plates in your ears like the tribes in Africa. I know some people might look good with that. I think it's so ugly. Don't do something that's gonna make you maybe turn her off. Do some things to create curiosity that she'll find attractive. And then you could even do some other things just simply for the purpose of creating curiosity, but don't do it in a way that it's fake. Do some things that you've always had interest in. If you'll listen to what I mean when I say to increase in your spice, if you want to restore your marriage, you've got to increase in your spice. Your spiritual, your physical, your intellectual, your character, and your emotional attractiveness. So if you're looking for ways to increase in her curiosity, align it with the SPICE, S-P-I-C-E, spiritual, physical, intellectual, character, and emotional attractiveness. Do something in those 5 areas that will make her curious, because curiosity is level 1 of attractiveness. And if a wife has confirmation bias and you're making her curious, the confirmation bias is actively dissolving, because luckily for you, she can't consciously think 2 thoughts at the same time. So if you've got her thinking over here, she can't be confirming the bias against you and or the marriage over here. And every day that she's not thinking it over here, that slowly starts the de-evolution of that biologically dissolving the psychological confirmation bias. And if confirmation bias does exist, the marriage will never be restored until you, through your leadership, change her by helping her dissolving it. The fourth thing that you could do is raise the white flag. I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. Okay, so you're about to put something in the comments if you've not been doing that. So let me help you identify if that's not you. So here's a question. If your wife is coming at you and she is battering you, she's got the emotional machine gun and she's firing it your way. Bam, 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 bam. You never treated me right. You never took care of the family. You never made me feel heard. You never made me feel valued. You never put in the comments if she said this. I don't even feel like a woman with you. You make me feel like a child. Why do you make her feel like a child? Because you have never given her permission to fail, fall, and up. We can say mess up because I'm trying not to use a blankety blank word in this video, okay? If you've never given your wife permission to fail, fall, or up, okay, then that's why she feels like a girl. So the way that you raise the white flag is when she's coming at you, condemning, complaining, and criticizing you as a man, you as a husband. I want you to raise the white flag in this way, okay? The old you, when your wife has been coming at you, telling you all of your faults, has tried to show up and say, but I've changed. Put in the comments if you're trying to prove, if you're doing right now what I did that did not and will never work. Put in the comments right now if you're trying to show her and prove to her that you've changed. That is you defending yourself, and it's the opposite of raising the right flag. See, what you're doing by defending yourself, when she's coming at you like white on rice and shooting the emotional machine gun, bah, 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 bad husband, bad person, bad guy, narcissist. When she's coming at you with all that stuff, and then you start trying to prove to her you've changed and explaining how you've changed, what you're doing is you're firing the machine gun back. If you want listen, your marriage won't be restored until your new leadership gets your wife to start defending you, okay? So put in the comments if you've been defending yourself and you see all you're doing is making it worse because what you're doing is invalidating her feelings. You're telling her your feelings aren't true, which makes you seem like a controlling narcissist. So how do you raise the white flag? When she comes at you and she says, bad husband, bad husband. What I want you to start doing instead, so far you've been aligning your actions with your feelings because we all feel it's human nature to show up to defend ourselves. But the way that you raise the right flag is you say, holy crap, I actually am starting to see the world through your eyes. I'm starting to see my reflection in your eyes. Meaning for the first time in forever, I see me and I see you. I'm starting to get why you feel like I'm a narcissist. And then you explain why you see that. Don't just do this to manipulate her. I will never teach anybody to be manipulative or to manipulate a woman into coming back into a marriage. But what I am telling you is slow down and pay attention to her words and stop defending yourself. See, if you'll agree with her negative feelings and put a good name on her negative feelings by explaining why you agree with those feelings, you've raised the white flag. See, somebody can't be in battle with somebody that's not shooting back. What I'm telling you right now is I'm telling you how to march across the battlefield and get on her side. Isn't that what you want? Put in the comments right now if you see you've been defending yourself and what you've been doing is invalidating her feelings and confirming the bias that she might have against you. And instead of dissolving the confirmation bias, you now see, put in the comments if you see that you've been increasing the confirmation bias, that you've been making it stronger, that you're literally confirming her feelings and making it easier for her to believe that there's no place in this marriage for her but out. Put in the comments if you see that. So what I mean by that is, do you see, put this in the comments if you see that the story that your wife is telling herself about you, the story that your wife is telling the enemies of the marriage about you, and why she can't be with you, why she can't have a marriage with you. Put in the comments right now if this is a wake-up call for you, that you kind of understand that song, Amazing Grace, was blind, but now I see. Put in the comments right now if you're starting to see what I'm talking about, that you, up until this point, have been aligning your actions with your feelings, and you haven't been aligning your actions with your actual goals to restore your marriage, to attract your soulmate back. That what you've been doing is defending yourself, and you've been confirming for her and justifying for her and making the story that she's telling herself about why she can't be married to you. You've been making that story true. But put in the comments right now if you see that's what you've been doing, because this is the first step, if you can admit that by seeing that and changing her. Because now you're positioned to change yourself and make that story she's been telling herself untrue. This is the first step in restoring a marriage. Put in the comments if you've been doing no contact because you listened to some moronic imbecile that's never even been married, and he's telling you to do something so stupid. Now, if you're a freshman in college, that is wisdom. That is on point. But if you're not, and you have a mortgage with your wife, you have children, you have rental properties, you have 401k, you have retirement, you have Bitcoin, you have all these things financially that's going to ruin you guys if the divorce happens. It's not wise to do no contact. That's foolish. There's no way you can restore a marriage doing no contact. No marriage is going to happen without intimacy. Intimacy will never happen until you learn how to communicate. I run a program called DivorceStoppers. Step 1 of the program is your first week. I teach you how to become an expert at intimate communication. And guess what? It doesn't matter if she's only talking to you about the kids or the bills. We can literally, that train that's heading toward emotional divorce, we can stop it in 7 days or less just talking about the kids or the bills. 100%, we can do it every single time. Which leads me to step number 5. If you want this marriage restored, you're going to have to make your wife feel heard, valued, and seen. Well, Denver, how do I do that? I don't know how to do it. Well, this is something that's going to require a little bit more in depth. I'm going to give you some pointers in this video, and then I'm going to direct you to a free resource that I have that can help you take that to the next level, okay? But let me give you some pointers in this video. When your wife sends you a text message, instead of just saying, oh my gosh, she texted me, I got to respond to her, slow down. If you want to speed up the restoration of your marriage, you're going to have to slow down to speed it up. And here's what I mean. So far, when your wife texts you, you might be responding in what I said earlier. I think it was step 2, positive, polite, and playful. But that's not enough. Now, you'll never have the marriage restored until you get happy, until you get positive, polite, and playful. But even that's not enough. If confirmation bias exists, that won't do it. You've got to create intimacy by making her feel heard, valued, and seen. You can 100% do this via text message, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple of pointers here, and if you feel like you need more help, I'm going to give you a resource to do that as well. Okay, so if your wife sends you a text message and it's about the kids, instead of just responding right away in something that's happy, I want you to analyze the text message for up to 15 minutes. And I want you to ask yourself, as you're looking at the words on that text message, I want you to ask yourself this question. How do I see her in these words? Slow down. Study her words. Women communicate in their feelings. It's not natural for a man. And if you want your marriage restored, you will not have it restored if she has confirmation bias until you become an expert communicator in feelings, okay? Which, by the way, coincidentally, makes you a 1% of a 1% masculine man. I'm teaching you how to become more masculine by becoming emotionally safe. And we do that creating intimacy. Read her text messages as if you're reading her. Don't look at those text messages as words. Look at that text message as if it's your wife's heart. Do you see her heart in those words? Respond in a way that makes her feel like you do. and that's the first step in restoring the marriage. Now, if you need more in-depth help on that, I do have a free resource that can help you do that. It's called the Free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass. My video editor is putting a QR code and the website on the screen right now. And now, listen, I have another video that I want you to watch that's also going to help you do this. I think it's probably the best video that I've ever done in years since I've been recording videos, which is going to be the video that my editor is going to put up at the end. But before we get to that, I want you to take advantage of this free resource before the seats fill up. The QR code that's on the screen right now and the website, which is denvergriffin.com/masterclass. Pause this video right now if you believe that you need more in-depth training on how to make your wife feel heard, valued, and seen. If you want to learn, how do I see my wife's heart in a text message about dropping the kids off for soccer? Okay, the Free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass, we have limited seats this week. Scan the QR code and pick your seat, okay? Or go to denvergriffin.com and click on, yes, I want to do the Free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass, and get your spot before those spots fill up. Now, if you go and it says there's no spots available for that live masterclass, write down the website, screenshot it, and check back every 3 or 4 hours. Maybe somebody will cancel. Okay, at this point, I'm assuming that you've done two things. You should have already registered for the Free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass. How many of you have been watching my videos for 6 months and you still have not taken an action step to save the marriage? If the wife has confirmation bias, YouTube is not going to work for you because you're going to run out of time before she ends up married to another man, okay? Put time on your side. For a lot of you, you're running out of time. Time only works in your favor if you put it there. So by now, you should have registered for the Free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass, okay? You should have already liked this video, subscribed to the channel, and pressed the bell button so you don't miss my next video. Okay, since you've already done all of that, the only thing left to do is to take intimacy to the next level in communication. So right now, if your wife is blocking you and she's only talking to you about the kids, or maybe she's flat out blocked you on text message and you're having to communicate on a Cord app or email, listen, you'll never have your marriage restored if your wife has you blocked and you're only talking about those things, or you're not talking at all via text. One of the ways that you can actually turn that train around is the video that is right here that my editor is putting on the screen right now at this moment. Before it goes away, I want you to click on this video and watch it next. My wife showed up with me in this video, and I think we do a really good job explaining how do you build intimacy and communication when she has limited the communication that she'll have with you. Make sure and watch this next video if that's you. It's one of the best videos that we've ever done. If you've registered for the Free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass, I'm looking forward to seeing you in that live masterclass this week. I'll talk to you in the next video. How do I know I'll talk to you in the next video? Because when you subscribed, you press the bell notification to make sure that you see that next video that's going to help you save your marriage.